Hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope you are not feeling sleepy after the lunch. My name is Nikhil Kathole. I am working as a principal software quality engineer at Red Hat, and I have been working since last 3 years on testing software as a service platform for Red Hat. So today we are going to discuss about the continuous delivery and testing in software as a service. But before that, let's take a quick look on the today's agenda. First, we will look into what is software as a service for those who are not aware about it. There will be a quick introduction about. We will look into the one of the strategy that we are showing off here, and as a subcomponent of it, we will look into development methodology where how these services are built or developed. We will also look into their deployment pipeline, how those are getting deployed, and we will also look into some of the testing challenges and how the testing is done. So, software as a service. I think everyone here already heard about what is open source. We all know open source dominates the software ecosystem, right? And with time and with the rise and increase from the demand, like cloud is also gaining the popularity. So we can say like this softwares, open source softwares are moving to the cloud platform. In terms of some delivery model, and that delivery model which is nothing, we can call it as a software as a service. So basically software as a service is nothing but is a distribution model in which different cloud providers, they host their applications, and whoever wants to use it as a user, they just go ahead and subscribe it to it, and they can basically start using it. If you look into the architecture, traditionally we had many monolithic architectures, but going with the time and with the new cloud native services, we are moving to the microservices. And this involves like front end as a service and then back end as a different service, and also the database as a different service. So this is the integration where all this come together and we get end user experience out of everything. And this is again one of the reason where this SaaS becoming a popular choice amongst the users, because they just need to go to cloud provider, opt in, subscribe to it, and they start getting whatever the requirement of their business, they start getting to use to it. One of the challenge like they had like managing the infrastructure or the deployment, that is gone with this option, right? So but in SaaS, like there are two things which matters the most. The first is speed and the second is accuracy. So when we are talking about the speed, user wants this new features coming up on their experience very fast. They don't want to wait for it, since the world is changing, AI is coming up, and they want the things pretty faster. So that's why one of the reason, like if we have to build our software in quick and safe way, we need to follow some strategy behind to achieve that. So basically, don't sacrifice your software quality for speed. As I said, like this model is getting evolved and this is getting adopted fastly. Thus, we also need to modify our monolithic testing strategy as well. I have here the three pieces of the guidance which we have divided into. The first is software development lifecycle, where these services are built. The second is continuous delivery pipeline, like how these services are deployed in different environments before it's going to production. And the last is operational monitoring. So once you deployed any service on the production environment, then that's not where you stop. You also need to monitor and you also need to make sure your users are getting correct experience. And each of these different steps or the different pieces, those are supported by the different metrics. That means we are monitoring this each step and we are learning out of that, and we keep improving out of that. So let's take so here are some things about the development methodology. I'm not going into the each and every point, but the most important one and the most applicable, which are not in our traditional model of software development. We are going to these three quick points where we think like these are the some of the important things um, in case of developing the services. So the first is quick cycle of small code changes. As I told, like speed is critical in this SaaS model. So customer or the user need these features very quickly. So there is basically gone are those days where customers are looking for or the users are looking for one of the release and they're waiting for a month and quarters and years, right? Customer wants these features very fastly and they want it very quickly. So these short cycle of the commits that help the features and the fixes to go into the prod early so that so that users can use it and they see value out of it. So this also like gives basically automation engineers a time to develop the automation. Whenever developer develops something and that goes to the production, your stakeholders, QE stakeholders or quality engineers, they can go ahead and write the automation for particular function. And going forward, one of the important thing we are going to discuss is automation is key to the deployment pipeline. If you have the automation in place, you can release your software pretty quickly. So that's why like small code changes, rather than pushing the big whole bunch of the code once in a release, we are talking about here like we should commit each commit to the prod, or we are talking about here we should do the small changes in prod once in a time. And this could be either daily, or either this could be weekly, or this could be even the multiple times in a day. The next is short-lived branches. So if someone is working on, if as a software developer you're working on a feature, rather than having it in separate long-lived branch, you start developing it, and this could be feature flagged in the production environment where a certain set of users can use particular those services and test it. We also call this as the beta or the preview environment. Also the architecture consideration, this is the important stuff here, because here we are talking about the integration where one service depends on your another service. So if you are developing different services, microservices, then you always has to be on the latest code of your dependencies. So that it won't break into the production. So make sure you are always on the latest code of your dependencies before going to the production. So these are some things which I wanted to talk about the development methodology. The point is like the code only is helpful to user when it's in production. The next strategy point is the deployment pipeline. So as I talked earlier, like this is the cloud era and this is very much faster. So each step in the CI/CD pipeline has to be automated. It has to be have some kind of metrics and some kind of getting for that. So here we are talking about all systems should be monitored by some matrices here. So when we talk about the different steps, those are like development, build, test, deploy, and finally the release. So if you see the diagram here, as a developer, developer goes and create a PR, that is pull request. Then as a stakeholder of QE or the quality engineers, you go ahead and add a test around that as well on the PR by deploying the particular change on the ephemeral environment. And these ephemeral environments are nothing but like the short-lived environment, which you can use as a temporary environment to test your changes, to automate around that. So whenever the PR gets merged, you already have the automation running on the next environment. So here, the code change, as soon as it gets merged, it gets deployed to the further environment. Here we are calling it as a stage environment, where again the certain tests like the regression test, functional test, integration test, whatever you have, those are getting monitored. And um, if you see, there is gating mechanism involved in every promotion of the code from either your PR to the production. You have the gating mechanism at all the places. So if you see, like, what if something goes wrong, you also need to be make sure that if something goes wrong, you can roll back or you can revert the change within a few cycles of your um, releases. So that's why the matrices that we are talking about, those are critical, and you have to monitor your systems in all the environments to catch the issues proactively. So that's the reason the operational monitoring is also important here. So when we are talking about the operational monitoring, we have different things to take care of here. Like, so the first one, alerts and the notifications. When something goes wrong, you make sure the right stakeholders are getting alerted before it becomes a problematic for your users. The next is the dashboards. Uh, Here again, like we talk about the different visualizations mechanisms using different tools. Um, like you have a number of open source, like the Open Telemetry, Kibana, and even the couple of the monitoring tools like Splunk. Though those can help you to create the alerts and dashboards so that you can monitor your users or you can monitor your application before it becomes problematic for your users. Third is the logging. Uh, it's also important, like it is possible that your functionality is working fine, but your server is uh, getting something wrong, or it's throwing number of errors, or it's getting out of memory. So you have to monitor your whole system, starting with your uh, different matrices like CPU, what's its memory, what's the network input output throughput, so everything. So that's why, like, logging is also the important to monitor the aspect. And the last one is the user metrics. How many times I think there are a number of applications where particular user service needs to scale as per the different occasions. Let's take an example where if Christmas comes in and shopping, the software as services which are related to the shopping and everything, those users gets the number of users, those are gets high in that particular time, and in such cases your service can broke, right? So you also have to monitor that user matrices so that uh, you get ready for that. You can scale the service as you want, and you can basically make sure the customer experience is great. So these all the things that we divided into the piece of the guidance. And finally, some of the testing challenges that we are going to discuss here. Uh, as I talk about, like, these releases happen so frequently, couple of times, multiple times in a day, right? So here, as a QE, you need to make sure you are selecting the right test cases for the right promotion of the code. Here also, we have to make sure, like, less testing of the software elements, but more demand of the software testing. That means your test cases has to be selected, but you have to run it frequently so that if something goes wrong, you get the risk, you get notified on the risk of the particular software, and you can basically work on that quickly. The next challenge is how to always be ready for release. Since we are talking about a particular change that can go to production, and you have to make sure nothing is at risk due to that particular change, then you need to make sure, like, what we are testing and how much time it is taking. So that's why it is said, like, the continuous testing isn't as simple to implement, but it adds exceptional value to your business. The next thing is progressive delivery or the feature flag. So if you have heard about the progressive delivery, that is nothing but the you enable your service on the production for certain number of users, and you start measuring your scalability and the performance of your application, so that you can measure like how the service is doing using this progressive delivery feature. Um, and also the feature flagging, where you are enabling the service for particular users, and you are getting the feedback from them. So this fast feedback here, uh, as you are reaching out to your user, you are making the change, you are getting the feedback out of them, and you are making the changes as per the requirements in their services. The next is testing in production. This could be sound weird, but yeah, this is testing in production. You have to make sure like this can multiple times be happening to you, like services are working fine in the pre-production environment, but in production it may break due to the dependencies or due to the. But so the point is, you also have to make sure your services are working in production, and you have to continuously make sure like you're running some set of test cases in production as well. We call it as a shift right testing. As a QE, it is also important that you need to have the understanding of services and the data flow. So why we are talking about here like services and the data flow? The challenges with the software as a service like is one of the challenges migration of the data. So if you have implemented some change in the database, so your previous data should be intact. Those should not get changed because you deployed something new. So database migrations and the understanding of your services, this is really important as a quality engineer to understand. And finally, testers' expertise in customer experience. One of the big aspect of this is in monolithic or in traditional softwares, you get access to the logs, you get access to the resources, you get access to the application where it is deployed. But in SaaS, you just get the front end as a user. So user may see the functionality is working fine, but user may also have to see like what is happening in the backend. So that understanding is important in terms of the customer experience. So it is also important like whoever is looking into your services as a quality, you have to make sure the customer experience is also good. So I think the whole point is continuous testing for SaaS is very important, and also you have to make sure you involve the QE or the quality assurance engineers early in the cycle, either in the planning phase or either in the requirement phase, where they get the understanding of what you are delivering. So I think that's pretty much out of it. Uh, any questions